Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the rehearsal process. Now, in the Interp Academy package for the Pocket Coach Academy, I go into pretty deep detail on how to best approach rehearsing, right? So, we'll go over memorization strategies and how to keep it fresh and how to best use your time. But before you can really do that effectively, you first have to face the three lies that you like to tell yourself when it comes to practicing or anything in the rehearsal process. So, first, the big lie that we tell ourselves and our coaches: I am practicing. What do I mean by this? Well, a lot of us like to convince ourselves that we are actively engaged in the rehearsal process. Maybe we have told ourselves that we're working on blocking. Maybe we have told ourselves we're working on memorizing. That's a big one. Maybe we've told ourselves we're working on recutting. Maybe we are working on characters. Maybe we're adjusting our jokes for our audiences. There's a lot of different things that we say we're accomplishing in the rehearsal process or when we set aside time to practice, whether that's either time that we have set aside for ourselves or if it's time given to us by our coach, if we have a class or if we have an after school practice. But 9 times out of 10, and we are all guilty of this, when we say, I am practicing, we're not really engaging in effective rehearsal strategies. A lot of times when my kids tell me they're working on it, I'll see them on their phones and maybe they have their script pulled up. Maybe they're working on memorization. Maybe they're referencing it for new blocking ideas. Maybe they're watching a video to get inspiration. But it always seems pretty passive. I'll see them sitting, maybe laying on the floor, comfortable with their friends, and they'll have their phones up and they're practicing. Maybe they even have their script printed out, right? They're practicing, they're rehearsing, they're looking at everything that they have to memorize. But again, it's a lot of silently sitting and staring at it, which is awkward for everyone. And what I see is that they get stuck in the mindset of, I'm supposed to be practicing. And so there's all of this performative energy, complaining about how much they have to memorize. Oh my gosh, I have to memorize like 4 pages, and I'm only on the first page. I don't know how I'm going to get this done in time. This is so hard, and then getting distracted by their friends. Or maybe there's like an interesting conversation, or they just went to ask their coach one quick question. And all of a sudden we repeat, oh, okay, well, now I'm really going to memorize, right? And so much time is wasted in these processes where we say we're rehearsing, but we're not really putting our mental and physical and emotional energy into the process in a way that is meaningful and engaged. You're wasting a lot of time telling people how hard it is to practice, but you're not actually using that time to practice. I find that this is why people say that it's so hard to memorize and it takes forever. I find that this is why people say that blocking takes forever. I find that this is why people say it takes forever to build boards, although, granted, it does take a while to build info boards. But we spend so much of our designated rehearsal time talking about the need to rehearse instead of actually rehearsing. So, what are some things that we can do to change this mindset so that when we say, I am practicing, we actually mean it? First, set a clear goal for your rehearsal time. Are you going to memorize the first 2 paragraphs, not the whole thing, right? You have to make sure that you set realistic goals for the amount of time you have, which is going to go into step 2. But really figure out, this is my goal. I want to block the first half of my duet. I want to work on my binder technique and plan out my page turns for my prose. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to focus on cleaning up my pops and my HI from character to character. Set a clear goal. And with that goal, set a designated amount of time to rehearse or practice that in order to get the goal done in that particular moment. If we set undesignated amounts of time with unclear goals, we just talk about the process of rehearsal. We talk about everything we need to do, but we don't really do it to accomplish it. The other thing that you need to do is get on your feet and practice out loud. Every single time my kids tell me, Cam, I am practicing, I have to sort of avoid rolling my eyes because they're always sitting down and they're always being quiet or they're always talking with their friends. And I don't see any of the active energy it takes to prepare a performance. Whether you are doing a platform event or an acting interp event, you have to get on your feet and practice out loud. You perform how you practice. The more time you spend rehearsing full out loud, to an audience, to a wall, all of the gestures and physicality and facial expressions, the more confident you're going to be going into your tournament because you've actually gotten up and done it instead of thinking about doing it. The second lie that we tell ourselves is, I'll practice later. We tell ourselves, well, I'm going to work on tweaking these jokes and then I'll practice the delivery later. Or, well, I have this English assignment that's due, so I'll practice later. Not during your class, not during team practice, but later at home. And there's always this idea of promising to be more productive later, usually when no one's around. And this is a promise we make ourselves a lot all throughout the day, all throughout our lives. And a lot of the time it's a lie. It's kind of when you tell yourself, oh, I'm so behind in homework. I'm going to go home. I'm going to pull an all-nighter. I'm going to get all of my work done. But then you go home and you're tired and you're hungry. So you say, I'm going to just eat something real quick. And then I'm just going to decompress and relax for half an hour, watch something on Netflix or Hulu or Disney, whatever it is. But then all of a sudden, the evening gets away from you and it's 9 o'clock at night and you think, now I really, really, really have to start. Or it's 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock and you work for an hour or two and then you get tired. And then you tell yourself, I'm just going to rest my eyes for 2 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours. And then all of a sudden you wake back up. It's 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You panic work for about 10, 15 minutes, realize you're not going to be able to get it all done. And then you make the same promise to yourself. Tomorrow, I'm going to pull an all-nighter. But you won't. This is a continued procrastination practice. I have ADHD. I get it. I get the idea of procrastinating and making lofty promises that you'll get to it later. But you waste a lot of time when you could get to it now. And even if you only do 5 minutes at a time, 3 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time, that's more than you would be getting if you just don't do it at all. The second lie also feeds into the third lie that people love to tell themselves. I practice better at home. I practice better with my friends. I practice better on my own. There's all of these ideas of the perfect environment to practice and rehearse. And while I think that is great in a theoretical sense, speech and debate is all about performing and presenting to an audience, and it is about adapting to a wide variety of environments with potential distractions. Don't set yourself up for failure by constantly seeking out this ideal practice rehearsal environment. Rehearse everywhere you can. Rehearse in different sized classrooms. Rehearse in front of your friends, in front of your teachers, in front of your family. Practice to get feedback. Practice right next to someone else, to a wall, out loud, and get past the distraction of the fact that they are doing the exact same thing. You see that a lot at tournaments and it seems to rev us up, right? Everyone's doing it. Everyone's talking to walls. Everyone's going over that introduction one more time or running the new blocking one more time or fixing their boards haphazardly one more time. And it's totally normal there. You need to make it totally normal in other places in your life. Because if your most engaged, effective rehearsal time is only at tournaments, you're doing yourself a disservice. The more you can engage in different rehearsal environments, the easier it will be to adapt at any tournament, in any round, with any audience, and any size presentation space. So, Those are the three lies we tell ourselves. I am practicing. I'll practice later. I practice better. Insert XYZ location. If we can get past these three lies and instead engage in a more effective rehearsal process, we're going to be able to really take the season by storm.